I'm here with Chandler Burrows, who has a bachelor in political science and also in history. So I just wanted to discuss with him today how he thought the election was going.
Well, thank you for having me on, Preston. And at this point in time, I think it's not really much of a guess who's going to end up winning the election. Biden is ahead by so much in the polls that every poll would have to be wrong, off by 5 or 6% for Trump to even have a chance. And people will say, well, in 2016, the polls were wrong. But this is a completely different situation. Hillary Clinton was only off from Trump by around 3 or 4% in the polls. Whereas Biden, in some polls, he's ahead by 9, 10, even 15%. And that's a gap you just can't make up. And so I'd confidently say that it's going to go to Biden on Election Day.
So you think it's definitely Biden. How do you think Biden got so far ahead of Trump, and what made Trump fall so far behind?
Well, I think there are really several big reasons as to why Trump is falling behind in the race. The biggest are stuff that's happened recently. The coronavirus really hurt him. The economic chaos that happened because the coronavirus has hurt him. Getting sick with the coronavirus, his poor performance at the most recent debate hurt him. And overall, it's important to remember that in 2016, Trump didn't win by a lot. He won in key states like Michigan by around 1 or so percent, very, very close. He could literally not afford to lose any support. And really, he hasn't been looking after the voters who put him into the White House, whereas he appealed to them more on pro-industrialization, anti-free trade, populist, anti-cuts to Social Security and Medicare themes. He's walked back a lot of that and became more of a standard George Bush Republican in recent years.
So since all of that has happened, with the upcoming election, whoever wins, do you think there will be riots in the streets like there has been in the past from either or winning?
I don't know if there will be riots because of the election. I don't think the election on its own will be enough to make riots happen because people have had time to mentally prepare for it for months. Though it's usually it'd have to be something else like a police shooting or some act of violence that sets off the riots if there are any. But I don't think there's going to be any over the election. The losing side's going to make peace that they lost.
Okay. And probably my last question is, do you have any words you want to say to new voters or old voters about how important it is to vote in the election?
Well, I'd say make sure to get out and vote for whoever your candidate of choice is. Even if you're writing in, if it's important that you get out and show that you were there and show that you had a voice in the process.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on, Preston.